Fan 266, proceed on to Delta Romeo, hold short of Delta taxiway, maintain a listening watch.
Okay, north on Alpha, then we check right
Stealth.
on 2978.
It's the most feared aircraft design in the world. Flying fast and almost invisible to enemy radar, it can attack without warning, kill with uncanny accuracy. And then, just like a ghost, it disappears. The stealth fighter and bomber were intended to be the ultimate offensive weapons. And they would be, except for one even deadlier design that is superior to any technology known to man. It flies in total silence, rarely misses a kill, and never runs out of gas. The greatest engineer on Earth has created the owl, nature's stealth fighter. In the human world, the F-117A stealth fighter and the B-2 bomber are revolutionary aircraft. Their unique aerodynamic shapes, built with top-secret composite materials, make them virtually invisible to radar. And that's why they're the most feared weapons in the world today. To create the ultimate aircraft, most aeronautical engineers would start with a stealthy, silent design. But the best we can do was one-upped by nature a long time ago. In the natural world, stealth has been the key to survival since the dawn of time. The owl has been refining its technology and techniques from the very beginning, while humans, it seems, are still stuck in the dark ages. It's true that aircraft design has come a long way in just a few hundred years, but no plane can do what the owl can: fly in total silence.
It's quite clear that the owl developed this unique technique of flying silently, and to some extent it puts our development of human flight, human-powered flight, over 100 years a little bit to shame.
Jeffrey Lilly is an aeronautical engineer at NASA, and he thinks owls are the key to the future of human flight.
We would very much like of course, to fly like the owls.
Today, NASA is seeking answers hidden in its feathers and wings. But there's a lot more to the owl than a unique physique. At the University of Oregon, neurobiologist Terry Takahashi is studying top-secret technology in the owl's cockpit, its brain, and amazing sensory capabilities.
Large portions of its brain are devoted to processing of sound. And all those brain areas are bigger in proportion to these birds. They can hear sounds that are somewhere between 10 and maybe even 15 decibels quieter than the absolute quietest that normal humans can hear.
Superior to any human invention, nature has created the most innovative aircraft design on Earth. A craft built not for speed, but silent, invisible, deadly attack. The Owl is exactly the kind of aircraft the military would love to build, if it could. The F-117A Nighthawk is the world's first operational aircraft built to exploit what humans call low observable stealth technology. Its unique diamond-like shape is designed to deflect radar waves away from the aircraft, shrinking its profile on enemy radar screens. Radar-absorbent materials on its surface reduce its profile even more, making it almost invisible.
The fact that it's very difficult to detect the incoming stealth fighter, it makes it very much like the owl. Once the owl decides to strike, it'll descend very silently so the mouse doesn't know it's coming.
Silent and very lethal, nature's stealth fighters first appeared in thick, lush, prehistoric forests. Here, the great horned owl, known affectionately as the tiger of the woods, eats anything it can catch. All owls have incredibly acute hearing. It's so good, an owl can hear a rodent rustling in leaves 50 feet away. But when it's airborne, it flies so quietly, even its own super-sensitive ears can't hear its wings flap. Diverse weaponry, dynamic senses, deadly silence. The owl has it all. Today, we're spending millions to unlock the secrets of the owl's stealthy biological design. But so far, we can't come close to replicating it. So how did nature do it? A good place for any design to start is at the beginning. For the owl, that was over 200 million years ago. Owls are unique amongst birds. They're built for stealth. It's the perfect hunting strategy, and today it's still being improved on by species like the snowy owl of the Arctic.
Roger that. Dan, I have a ground X-ray 1 radio check, taxi to 1-2. Okay, copy that. We'll recall you straight in pursuit to 6 Delta Bravo.
Nature began testing its stealthy designs millions of years ago, when the first prototype owls appeared. But they didn't evolve overnight. In fact, its original design is shared by all birds. The origins of flight began about 200 million years ago, when the bird's first ancestors appeared alongside the dinosaurs. Some early dinosaurs themselves had wing flaps that allowed them to glide. But the real breakthrough came with feathers. Feathers evolved as smaller dinosaurs grew elongated scales that first became proto-feathers and then ultimately complete wings. Bones became hollow and were supported by an internal honeycomb of trusses. But these earliest birds were awkward flyers, and so evolution stepped in to remove any excess weight, including teeth. Soon enough, a practical working design for a flying bird appeared. About 65 million years ago, a comet struck the Earth and ruthlessly wiped the dinosaurs out. But out of the chaos that followed, new creatures evolved, including millions of mice. Owls too evolved quickly to hunt them. They acquired a powerful night vision capability, acute hearing, and a razor-sharp beak and talons as their preferred and fearsome weapons.
All these things make an owl a very good predator and has allowed it to survive for millions of years. So they're built well for hunting.
Today, there are 205 species of owls found in every ecosystem on Earth. On the Great Plains of North America, or deep in a boreal forest, owls can look quite different. The hawk owl, for example, has the shortest legs of all owls, which helps them stay warm in cold northern forests. But the hawk owl's closest cousin, the burrowing owl, has the longest legs to help it get a good view of the vast treeless prairie. What all owls have in common are acute senses.
In these birds, both the eyes and the ears are large. So if I were an owl, I would have an ear opening that's about this big, and an eyeball about like the size of a very large grapefruit.
All owls have incredible binocular vision. Inside the eye, light-sensitive rods outnumber color-sensitive cones by at least 10 to 1. As a result, in low light conditions, owls can see at least 10 times better than humans. But in the bright light conditions of an Arctic summer, where there's 24 hours of sunlight, razor-sharp eyesight is the snowy owl's meal ticket. And although its eyes are fixed, its head can rotate almost 300 degrees to find and focus on a distant rodent with amazing speed and accuracy. The tundra is as flat as a pancake, and the snowy owl scans the landscape incessantly with its acute binocular vision for any sign of prey. Up here, lemmings are the main menu item, so they're right to be nervous, scurrying into holes at the first sign of danger. But the owl is wise to be patient. It can sit on its perch for hours, watching and waiting for a flash of movement. The snowy owl is an accomplished, sharp-eyed killer, catching dozens of lemmings a day. But like all owls, it also has remarkable hearing. Coming up next, we visit the owl's flight deck, where, just like radar, its brain translates sound waves to track and locate prey, even in complete darkness. The battle cry of pilots who fly stealth warplanes is, "Rule the night." But don't tell that to a barn owl. In the Middle East, the owl is known as Shaba, the ghost bird. And in its world, after sunset, it's the owl who rules. Inside its domain, the barn owl is so finely tuned in to the frequency of rustling prey, it can hear a mouse step on a piece of straw. The mouse is well aware of the barn owl's talents and needs to stay constantly alert, watching or waiting for death from above. But the owl's broad facial disc can capture even the slightest sound made inside the barn. When the mouse makes a move, the owl is right on it, ready to kill, even in total darkness. The owl's uncanny ability to hunt by sound alone is unique. Now, scientists are using unique technology of their own to learn how it does it. At the University of Oregon, neurobiologist Terry Takahashi studies both the owl's hearing and its brain.
Oh, so you have to get close. One of the reasons why we're looking at barn owls, they're very good at picking off prey in absolute darkness, like the stealth fighter. The real interesting experiment that was done early on was some researchers put an owl in a very dark room. They released a mouse into the room, but the mouse was towing with about 1 meter behind it on a string, a crumpled piece of paper. And what the owl consistently did was to strike the rattling paper and not the mouse.
Other experiments in the past 50 years have shown that many owl species can hunt in total darkness. But the big question is, what are the secrets behind the owl's superb hearing?
What makes barn owls different from other raptors is really the shape of its face. So come here, let me look over here. You can see that it's round, and it's kind of a heart-shaped face. And these feathers that make this round shape act really like a funnel. So the sound waves are channeled right into the ear openings. The right ear is actually located below the left ear. But despite that, the right ear actually acts like a microphone pointing upwards, so that it's more sensitive to sounds coming from above, whereas the left ear is actually like a microphone pointed downward.
Inside the barn, the movements of the mouse send sound waves arcing through the air up towards the owl. The sound reaches the left ear first and helps indicate the location of the mouse. When both ears register the sound waves at the same time, it means that the mouse is now directly in front of the owl. But since the mouse is constantly moving, the owl too has to constantly move its head to maintain a precise fix on its target. With the speed of an ultra-fast supercomputer, it takes just milliseconds to coordinate the location, time, and intensity differences of a sound, faster than the software in the cockpit of a stealth fighter.
The brain of the barn owl actually builds a map of acoustic space, kind of like a radar screen.
And the owl's radar-like brain is deadly precise. To see how it works, Terry puts his owls in an anechoic chamber, an echoless room also used by military aircraft designers.
The room, in addition to being very quiet, is also very, very dark. And again, it's an effort to control the environment, and control the stimulus that the owl is supposed to be paying attention to. We want to essentially simulate the natural environment of an owl, dark, say a barn, and the speakers are broadcasting sounds that are mouse-like. During hunting, what the bird does is it looks at its radar map or sonar screen and says, ah, there's a mouse, and it's down and to the right. It'll turn its head to it, and then which will bring the image of that active source right to the center of its screen. And so if the mouse starts to run away and starts to move, then the blip on its biological sonar screen will also move, and the owl will once again readjust its head to bring it back to center. As the bird gets very close to the prey, it will at the last moment replace its head with a talon and dispatches the prey. So how's the bird doing today?
This one, the auditory alone, it did pretty well. This trace shows how the bird turned towards the target at first and then localized it secondly. This next trial, I'll try auditory and visual.
Now science is learning what nature did a long time ago. When designing a stealthy aerial hunter, it's a good idea to put a powerful supercomputer in the cockpit.
Here we go.
Let's turn it around.
Oh, okay.
Barn owls are like nature's stealth fighters. The fact that it's very difficult to detect the incoming stealth fighter, it makes it very much like one of these guys. The engineering that went into building this is probably a lot like the engineering that went into building one of these guys.
Hunting at night by sound alone is only one of the owl's truly unique technologies. Today, silent flight remains a technical impossibility for stealth aircraft. But when owls fly, they're so quiet they can't hear the movement of their own wings. Deadly silence is next. Almost half the size of a football field, the B-2 bomber is huge, and its 4 massive jet engines make it anything but silent. Even so, its unique shape can't be detected by radar. For a warplane, that is stealthy flight. But nature's stealth fighter makes no sound at all when it hunts. an owl attacks in total, deadly silence. And then, as stealthy as it arrived, like a ghost, it's gone.
The stealthiness of the owl has two components to it. One is being able to locate prey without having to make an active sound. And the other, like the stealth fighter, is it can't be detected by flight sounds.
Conventional aircraft are detected easily by radar. The waves bounce off the exterior, revealing its location. But like the F-117A, the B-2's unique shape deflects radar, reducing it to the size of an insect on enemy radar screens. Building an aircraft to scatter radar and still fly it close to the speed of sound is incredibly complex and could never have been achieved without the use of supercomputers. But nature didn't need a computer to build the perfect stealth aircraft. Instead, it used feathers. By the time a young owl grows up, it's covered with over 7,000 feathers, each one designed especially for silent flight.
All other birds than the owl make noise, but the owl was silent as far as humans were concerned. We started to look at the owl's feathers and noted that the feathers of the owl are different from those of all other birds.
In most birds, wind passing over its wings creates turbulence and, as a result, noisy sound waves. But not the owl. Its feathers evolved to eliminate wind turbulence.
The owl developed these changes in its feathers to fly stably, at slow speed, without stalling, and flying silently.
Unlike all other birds, the owl has a fine comb on its leading edge feathers that maintain stability during flight. While airborne, these soft, velvety feathers also don't rub together and don't create noise. But it's the fine comb on the fringe of trailing edge feathers that really makes silent flight possible. These feathers break up wind turbulence, turning it into smaller, quieter air whirls. And that creates a flight so silent, even the owl can't hear its own wings flap.
It's very interesting that if we remove the comb at the leading edge and remove the fringe at the trailing edge, the owl can no longer fly stably and is very noisy, just like other birds, and would never get a good meal.
Mice may be the owl's primary food source, but they're not defenseless. They too have good ears. Yet even a mouse can't hear the owl coming. So far, no human invention has come close to matching the design of nature's silent, stealthy hunter. Except perhaps its weaponry. But the weapons the owl does have makes it a formidable killer. Across North America, dozens of owl species are on the hunt, searching for both an ideal spot to dine and an all-you-can-eat menu. After a forest fire, nature is magically reborn, and usually that includes a mouse population boom. For the hawk owl, a burnt, blackened tree branch is an ideal perch to scan the bare forest floor below. The hawk owl is an aerial acrobat. It's incredibly fast, and observed in real time, it can pick off prey in less than the blink of an eye. On the vast North American prairie, there's not many trees, but there are thousands of prairie dogs, all burrowing holes deep into the ground. And when a prairie dog moves on, the aptly named burrowing owl moves right in. And for it, a small mound of earth is ideal to watch for foraging mice. Like all owls, it flies silent and strikes before the unlucky rodent senses even a hint of danger. The young owls rarely leave the safety of their burrow and can run quickly inside it at the first sign of danger. Even owls have their enemies. But in almost every environment on Earth, nature's stealth fighter has learned to survive and thrive, especially at night. Even in a pitch-black forest, it can navigate between trees with uncanny precision. In a barn, deep in the forest, day or night, the owl always flies straight to the kill. But wherever it hunts, formidable weapons are key to its success. The owl's claw has 4 talons, razor-sharp daggers to capture its prey or grab onto a roosting post. Muscles and tendons in the talons have a ratchet-like locking system. Ridges on the tendons lock the talons in place and prevent the grip from slipping. When it's ready to let go, the owl moves the tendon and the muscle slides, releasing the talon. The owl's arsenal also includes a scalpel-sharp beak, capable of delivering a killing blow and then dissecting its prey with surgeon-like dexterity. Without exception, on the attack, nature's stealth fighter is deadly, whether it's the large great horned owl, the tiny saw-whet owl, or the barred owl.
The owl developed this unique technique of on perch to prey, a very steep approach, flying stably as a wonderful stable flying platform, approaching the prey. The prey wouldn't hear before the claws would then grab it.
And this stealthy hunter never misses. Well, almost never. Sometimes the mouse gets lucky, but not for long. The owl recalibrates its position, and if it gets a second chance, makes no mistake. After a kill, owls waste no time in gorging. The head is a delicacy and is often eaten first. But most of the time, prey is swallowed whole. It's a tough job for younger owls when the mouse is almost as big as they are. The owl's digestive system is designed to handle an exclusive diet of meat. In the stomach, special gastric acids dissolve meat quickly from bones or fur that can't be digested. These are pressed into tiny pellets and regurgitated. It's a high-protein diet. The super high-octane fuel of nature's stealth fighter. The many faces of the owl are among nature's most innovative creations. Now the owl is inspiring a whole new breed of aeronautical designs.
We would very much like to fly like the owl, so that we're in complete silent flight.
Coming up next, the future of commercial flight. Is it possible that we too will be able to fly as silent as the owl?
We have a go for main engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff.
In just 100 years, aircraft design has evolved from biplanes built of wood and cloth to the B-2 stealth bomber. But so far, no one's been able to figure out how to fly like an owl. To go further, the future of flight needs a lot more imagination. For Jeffrey Lilly, owls are the inspiration for the next generation of commercial jets. He's an aeronautical engineer at NASA's Research Center in Langley, Virginia. Both the Apollo moonlander and the space shuttle were tested here. And right now, so are the aircraft of the future. They don't look like birds, but NASA hopes they'll at least act like them. And if all goes well, sometime in the not-too-distant future, we too will be able to take off, fly, and land just like, you guessed it. But for now, Jeffrey would be happy to incorporate just one of the natural principles of flight into large commercial jets, like designing a Boeing 757 to land as quietly as an owl swooping in for the kill.
The problem is that with aircraft coming into land, the aircraft is flying low over people who live close to the airport. And when we looked at this problem, we just simply thought, well, is there any other vehicle flying in the sky at the present time that flies silently? The owl was silent as far as humans were concerned. And so the question was, if the owl can fly silently, why can't we do this on the airplane?
The owl is the ideal prototype for silent flight. Airborne, it's extremely stable and can glide steeply in for a landing in complete silence. Jeffrey Lilly's dream is to live right beside a busy international airport and never, ever hear a jet land. Owl technology could provide the answer.
Well, owl technology is associated with the ability of the owl to have techniques to reduce noise, bearing in mind that there is a change of scale, size, speed, and also materials, which mean that one would not be suggesting that aeroplanes in the future would be made of feathers, for instance. We will need to adapt what the owl did in solving this problem on its particular size. We want to use some of that technology and carry it over onto the aeroplane.
New composite materials, and especially new wing designs, are tested in NASA's wind tunnels. For now, this is where owl-inspired human technology is taking off.
Eventually, we will be able to have a performance on an aeroplane which relates very closely to the performance that we have of the owl.
In the airplane of the future, millions of computerized sensors embedded in its wings and fuselage will act just like a living central nervous system. And yet to be invented materials will allow its wings to bend naturally, just like a bird. NASA is the ultimate sandbox for aircraft designers. And by playing with ideas like pretending to be an owl to discover a way for a jetliner to land silently, today's dreams become tomorrow's technologies.
In the case of the owl is on the tree and is then coming down at this steep trajectory towards its prey. For the future, we want to have the same descent path, basically, keeping the aeroplane now higher until we're getting really very close to the airport, when we'll tilt the aircraft to come into a steeper trajectory before landing, meaning that most of the noise that is going to be generated by the airplane would be over the airfield rather than over the people. And if we could do exactly what the owl does in catching its prey, if we could do just that today with a vehicle the size of an airplane, I'm sure somebody should get a Nobel Prize for doing it.
It took millions of years for nature to perfect the owl's amazing aerodynamic design. Now, this incredible creature soars uniquely between its world and our own. And for those designing new generations of aircraft, they'll be learning from the owl for a long time to come. Completely silent and deadly accurate, the owl rules the sky with stealth and wisdom. Even the future won't know what hit it.